Alright, so just doing a quick, inventory check really quick, just to kind of see where I'm at on the stages that I've already been to.
No deaths so far.
Yeah.
Good.
None of them and none of me, but, just 3 left, 3 bosses left. And then a whole lot of special collection. It's probably going to be one of the most involved collection episodes.
Oh, I can't wait to edit that.
But in the meantime, have the stage that has, all of the Street Fighter Rescue Reploids.
Oh, good.
I don't think literally all of them, I think there's 1 or 2 in other stages, and there's a few in this one that aren't, but a lot of them in this are here you go. Here's all of those references.
So, I've been meaning to ask this since literally the first episode. This guy's face is in the end level screen. What's his fucking deal?
It'll get explained when he comes up.
Hey.
You know that. Yeah, this stage also has some, slightly weird dialogue, just, right at the start there. She specifically mentioned, or I think one of them mentioned specifically, a high jump part will come in, really handy here, be necessary. It's there's just a wire hook right there that has nothing to do with fucking anything we're even talking about. Also, this stage is just literally 100% ice physics all of the time. It's fucking terrible. To deal with. I don't mind the stage itself, but the fact that, nothing... You can't cling to any walls at this stage. Just at all.
Also, you can see the top of the background art here.
For some reason, I thought that was just an emulation thing on the other videos that we were watching this on, but apparently that is a problem.
Great!
Outstanding.
Back 6, everyone!
There was plenty of time to make it. It wasn't rushed at all. But yeah, so, if you fall into any of these pits, there's no way to recover. Which is why I just panic there. I'm oh, okay, time to course correct, because that's not what I meant to do. It makes a couple of these things pretty tricky, especially a little bit later, or if you're playing as Zero. Because, I think the Zero has the Z-Buster in this, so I guess that's not as much of an issue, but still less than great. It also has a really irritating point of collection, which is right here. I specifically came to this stage when the icon was red. And that is because that causes those fireballs to come down. That opens a path to the area below for, the heart tank of this stage, the EX tank, which I think I get right now, and just a whole bunch of rescue Reploids. That's all below. The walls that are blocking that have to be destroyed by these fireballs, which means you have to beat Heatniks first, and make sure that red icon, this is the red effect, basically. There's 2 nightmare effects that can affect every stage, and the red ones are always consistent. And, the non-red ones are always consistent, so you know which one is going to be which I'll manipulate. You'll see that coming up in this episode. But there's, ice walls blocking both that upper and lower path parallel to the ladder down there. It doesn't even animate opening. So it's literally just just don't fucking worry about it. It's just this is here, so that means the door is open. It's come on, be slightly less lazy, please. I know you didn't have a lot of time to work on this, but if that's the case, just don't do that.
Are these giant ice blocks recycled from some previous games' ice boss?
I don't... I think part of them is, and they're slightly redrawn. Because I don't... It would be Frost Walrus that you're thinking of, but I don't think any of his are that blunt. I think they all end in a point of some kind, but I'm not 100% sure. Either way, it's basically the same, so they might have just, dulled the sharp points. So, this is one of the ones that makes me doubt my own, this is all just hallucination, damaging Reploid bodies, or robot bodies, because that dialogue, and I don't know, maybe my theory is true and it's just the bad translation at work, but that dialogue for Hylia just then basically said, even though I can't see the Nightmare of Ice, which, that naming convention, maybe I can use it to our advantage somehow, which kind of implies that she's steering them in a way to get you out of the pits, which... I don't know, just... There's a lot there just automatically that's really fucking annoying. But, I don't know if that's different in other dialogue, or if that's just straight up like, yep, Alia's just steering these things she can't see, which, cool for her, but also, what? And also just all of these ice block parts suck, because, like you just saw a moment ago, if they land on you, you take a bunch of damage. Mm-hmm. If you're in one of those blocks and the row completes on you, that's an instant kill. Which is just inconsistent, if anything else.
Alright.
So, this dialogue here is answering your question from before. Sort of. It will be in a moment. So, this is the normal, like, get your special weapon ready. And then Ailey is like, oh, wait a minute. Something wrong.
Right.
You're reading it. It's basically implying that Wolfang is slightly extra important, which, once we find things out after this, I won't spoil it for the time being. We'll find, like, I'll go over why that's also kind of watered down based on at least maybe our translation, maybe in general, who knows. But, Wolfang's actually a really cool boss.
Yeah, I don't mind his design at all.
Well, no, I don't even just mean the design. Like, he's actually a really interesting dynamic fight. I think I try to get him to show off most of his attacks in this one.
I think he's one of the only bosses that's quadrupedal in the fight. Because I don't think any others are on all fours. All the Scarab Beetle, kind of.
Kind of. I don't know if that's right. Sting Chameleon, technically, when he's on the wall.
Right.
See, now I'm just going to scroll through this entire fucking art book. You shouldn't have brought that up. But yeah, he's also got a really good personality, which I think is kind of cool. Like, he isn't just objectively like, let's fight. I don't know. I don't think any of the bosses in this one feel that way, but somehow he feels like he does a slightly better job of it.
I like his design except for his tail.
Yeah, tail doesn't really say wolf tail to me, but... So, this...
Oh, that looks neat.
Yeah. I don't know if they eject. You can kind of clear them with his weakness. Mm-hmm. That's... And I don't use it, unfortunately, in the playthrough at all. We'll tack that onto our list of reasons why we need to do the special weapon video eventually.
Yeah.
But his normal shot... I'm trying to remember. I think it's Ice Burst is the name of the weapon. This is well past the point where I'm not super familiar right off the top of my head. We'll see in just a second. So the normal shot is... Yeah, Ice Burst, cool. I'm the greatest. It fires an ice block you can step on. That's basically just, the lobbed projectile that he was doing. Mm-hmm. His charge shot has X do the kind of, dark hold pose. Like he, I don't think he holds his hands up, but he, flashes, and then nothing happens. You're like, oh, I don't know what. When you, there's a shine over him, too. So that's what the flash is. It's not the screen, it's X.
Right.
You're like, okay, what the hell is this? When you dash, it leaves a trail of icicles behind you, and then they fly off in either above or below, which means if you do an air dash, you're just, creating this huge wall of projectiles going up and down. It's not something that I use very often, but, at least conceptually, it's really, really neat, in my opinion.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is this. It's just a whole other instance of, Wolfang was doing his thing, and then something tragic happened, and he got everyone killed, so people wanted to kill him, and he died. Which is basically par for the course up until now, except his is written to be almost somehow a little bit extra tragic, and Ailey is the one that did it. Which, on its own, would be, kind of a big revelation, but A, the translation kind of waters it down because it sounds hokey. B, she also is the one that took care of Scarabit, so it's I'm not sure if that's something that they intended to be in the original and it was translated correctly.
Also, there's this going on right now.
Yeah. So, this is me cycling the nightmare phenomenon. So, next up is Rainy Turtloid. As it stands right now, he would not have his red nightmare effect, which would mean that the entire stage would be nightmare darkness, which would basically be the whole only 1/3 of the stage is visible.
Right.
By beating, quote-unquote, beating Sheldon, so beating his stage or just completing it anyway. And I actually think after I did this, I found out that you could go in and then just hit exit, and that also applies, but his is short either way, so it wasn't a big loss. That forces the nightmare phenomenon to be what would come from his stage, which means it's actually a manipulated effect. It's not just randomized, which I only recently found out in my travels. So if you've got a particular nightmare effect you don't like in a certain stage, you can go to the level that would activate the alternate nightmare effect in that level and remove it.
Nice.
Yeah, which is really nice, because Nightmare Dark applies to either his stage or Yamark's stage. Yamark's stage sucks, but is still sort of doable. This one is just like, fuck this fucking stage with that effect turned on. There's no justifiable reason for that effect to be in the game, period. But this one has the Acid Rain, which you can only turn off by shooting 4 of these tiny cores, most of which are on the edges of the screen that you can't see. So unless you've literally memorized it, it is borderline unplayable. Like, it's possible all of the nightmare effects are able to be dealt with, but it's just like that particular stack is just like, why? And there's plenty of bottomless pits in this stage, too. And a lot of rescue Reploids that are not in, like, the most immediate danger, but still kind of up there. Not to mention the fact that, like, you might just not see one and the nightmare in this same area, so even if they're not right next to each other, you might just be blissfully unaware of something terrible happening. So
X6 is a good game.
Yeah, X6 is great. Also, there's a lot of alien dialogue in this one explaining all of the different components of what I just went over for the Nightmare Rain, so we'll be through with that soon-ish. A lot of it, like the bulk of it, is at the beginning, luckily.
Right.
It's kind of lopsided that way. Basically, you need to shoot the 4 cores so that you can destroy the weather control device, which turns off the Nightmare Rain.
Whoa.
Yeah, because of course. So this is the alternate Nightmare effect. This is,
Nightmare 0.
I think it might be Nightmare... No, it can't be Nightmare Soul, because that's what you pick up. It might be Nightmare Body or something. Basically, it's always the opposite. So if I was playing at 0, it would be X Soul Bodies flying through the air, which I think is kind of neat. You can neutralize those with Guard Shell, which maybe I might do. I don't think I do. It's one of the only things that makes Guard Shell really kind of worthwhile, and so it only applies on 2 stages.
Yeah.
I don't remember off the top of my head which other one can have Nightmare Soul Body appear on it as the effect. I
love how you go through all this shit to stop the rain.
And then it just immediately comes back.
Yeah, it's like, why?
Yeah. Like, I honestly... So, I like the idea of the Acid Rain. I think that's an interesting stage mechanic that hasn't really been done in any other level. There's been, like, Windy Rain and stuff like that, like in Wire Sponge's stage. But this is the only one that's like, you are just going to take consistent damage. And it doesn't feel bad to me. And you'd think it would, but I think it just given, like, the way the actual stage is laid out and how little damage you take and the fact that there are healing devices around, I like that as a stage gimmick. It's that stacked on top of the cores and the rescue Reploids and the nightmares and the potential nightmare darkness and stuff. It's just like, alright, ease back a little bit. But, like, if they just had this. Like, I would even take it where it was just Nightmare Rain all the way through. Or, like, Acid Rain all the way through. Like, no stop to it at any point. You're just taking consistent damage up until the boss. Maybe even in the boss fight.
I think it would be neat if it actually utilized cover, so, like, you had to go through...
That would be cool. There's a Zero stage that's like... Or, Mega Man Zero, so, like, the Game Boy Advance games stage like that. It's a fire level, and you're right near an artificial sun. So there's just, like, intense sunlight beaming straight down on top of you, and unless you're standing underneath something, counter will come up that's your heat level, and if you hit critical mass, you explode, which I think is really cool. It's a really interesting stage. So, like, you have to stay in shadow the whole time.
Wow, we should do the Zero games at some point.
Maybe. I'm actually more interested in maybe doing the ZX games, but that's a conversation we can have another time. But yeah, so here's just like actual decent platforming. Lots of kind of bullshit unless you know what to do. Rescue Reploids around, but as far as actual level design goes, I think this is a surprisingly strong one, all things considered.
Just imagine about half to 3/4 of the screen obscured with darkness.
Yeah, and then do these. So this final section of collection in this level is really shitty. You can get hit by the Batantons or their bombs or anything, and then just damage boost through if you want. You're supposed to do this, so you need the blade armor to do it. And it starts off kind of difficult. What I realized is a really easy way to do it is if you jump, and then right before you land, start the mock dash, which is just jump again in midair, like it's the double jump, and then release in that direction. Right above the ground plane is the sweet spot. So basically, jump, and then jump again when you think you're going to hit the ground. You will either jump off the ground again, which means you landed, or you'll start the dash freeze. And if it looks like you're too high, just don't release it right away and go straight up, and then you're safe. So it's not the worst thing. That's how I manage it, and I go through it deathless in this, so, clearly it works. I think you'll see a couple instances where I end up jumping a whole fucking bunch, but it's the perspective makes this a lot more difficult than it needs to be. That is the main challenge here, which, of course it is. It's always a problem, but I think this is one of the most glaring spots for it in the PlayStation 1 games.
Now, you can keep using that heal pad, right?
Yes, unless it goes away, which one or two of them do. It's very specific ones. It will break upon use, so if it's there, it's there. Which is really nice. It doesn't fill your sub-tanks or anything, but those strange devices, it's like, well, I can't guarantee your safety, but yeah, so that one I probably would have died if I hadn't course corrected. And then it's basically just a sweep. So, in order to not lose track of where you've been, because you also have to destroy more cores to get rid of the last weather control device. So there's a lot to keep track of here, and if everything looks identical, so if you fall too far and have to cycle back up and down, it's a pain. So just do it systematically, like a grid search, I guess. Also, some of the cores are hidden behind rescue Reploids, so if you run into them, you'll take damage from the core. It's not a lot of damage, but it's still just fuck you. Don't do that.
Why did the cores even cause contact damage?
Because it's X6, Smith.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, going to the left, which I just remembered just then, is one of those entryways, and also, I guess there is a core back here, and a rescue Reploid, so I remembered that again, too. Then and now. Going through that one, which is larger than the others, because of course it is, it's the one that's not fun, takes you to this stage's alternate path, teleporter. So, all the way at the end of the stage, all the way through all of this shit, that's where the branch is, which, whatever. But, so that's everything in the actual main level so far. I just need to beat the boss, and then I get to come back here again, just to go through there to collect at least it's 4 Reploids and not just fucking 1, because that's the worst, in my opinion, when it's okay, you have to do this alternate path for one to get one guy. It's why is there even a path? At least balance it out. I'm gonna go back to looking for quadrupeds. Unless you have any other questions.
No.
What does Web Spider count as?
An arachnid.
Yeah, but he's using all 4 of his limbs.
Does he have 4 limbs, 6 limbs, or 8 limbs?
He's got 8, but 4 of them are little small ones, just to complete the look. But my thing is that when he's climbing on the final web, he's on all 4s.
It's more splayed out rather than all 4 planted on the ground, I guess.
Yeah, I guess Wolfang really is the only quadruped then, at least that we've seen so far. Again, unless you want to count Flea. So this is another instance of normally this would be, why are you so stupid, why aren't you just helping, but it's the whole honor bound thing, and he's the one that's actually directly saying it, which is kind of nice. it's like, okay, I respect you, X, I'm sorry that we have to do this. He's like, then let's not do this. It's like, nope, I got resurrected by this guy. I have a duty. This is what I have to do. There's no getting around it. So, I don't know, like, you could argue that that's kind of dumb, but I think it's kind of neat, but I'm a sucker for the whole, like, honor-bound thing, because at the end of the day, I'm just a big, dumb child, I guess.
Then these guys, for the most part anyway, aren't actually infected by the Maverick virus in this one. They're just...
Yeah, no, this is a Gate faction. This is one of the reasons why I like the underlying plot here, is like...
I mean, Gate is Maverick, but these guys aren't infected by it. It's like, well, he's our boss, man. You gotta do it.
Yeah, and it's a different strain of Maverick than normal, like, Sigma Brainwash, because, like, Dr. Doppler was the one, I think, that resurrected his guys in X3, or something. I don't know the exact word.
Or he made them or something.
Yeah, I don't think it's exactly like that. But in any case, like, Doppler is the known bad guy there, and then it's just like, nope, yep, brainwashed, like, controlled by Sigma. And then, like, Rebel Force is an instance of they aren't just, like, brainwashed, they were politically manipulated, which would be great if that plot wasn't so garbage. This one is kind of another instance of this, where it's like, he is Maverick in the sense that he's going crazy, but it's not at all because of Sigma. Like, unless you count because of the events of X5 causing it, then, like, by extension, but that's technically Zero, which is technically a different strain of it. Plus, he was already morally ambiguous to begin with, so, like, there's a lot of layers to this one that I think are kind of interesting. Which I'm glad we can talk about right now, because there's not a whole lot to this fight. Yeah, you have to destroy the 2 gems.
Destroy the cores.
Yeah. Actually, this whole stage is basically destroy the cores, which... Yay, Gradius.
Yay! There should be a Mega Man shoot 'em up.
Be neat. It's in a couple levels. Like Tengu Man's stage in 8 has a shoot 'em up segment in it.
I think I remember that.
It's pretty good too. So it's like, I would totally play this. There's also a section of Mega Man 5 for Game Boy that is like that, which is also pretty fun. It's very simple, but still
we should record the classic series.
Stop. I don't have enough energy to fight you right now, but I will still fight you.
Oh, yeah. You can't rest until you've covered every Mega Man game.
Wolf, you might be a quadruped.
Who?
No, I can't talk.
Oh! You've gone into the future.
Mostly because I'm curious. Oh, there is another one that does it. So, cool. Like a 100% guaranteed does it. So that one took a while, so it was another 100 soul instead of a 200, but he's a tank, so I'll accept it. Fun fact, apparently tortoises, despite their tortoiseshell shield, which she's about to explain is his overpowered thing that everybody feared and disposed of him for, apparently turtle shells are growths and can feel pain.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that until I read trivia for this, because it was like on the Mega Man wiki. He's like, ironically, even though Tortoise's defense power is such and such, tortoises actually feel a great deal of pain on their shells. It's like, it is also a robot, but you're not wrong, I guess. Cool, thank you for making me learn.
I want to say they're just keratin fused with a reinforced rib cage, but I don't remember offhand.
Something like that. I just think it's interesting that it is very clearly a defense mechanism, but it's a defense mechanism that can feel pain.
Well, it's useful that way, so you know when something's biting you.
Yeah, I guess that does make sense. But yeah, so his whole thing is that he was originally designed to explore, like, acid rain areas, which is why I think it's an interesting stage game, because it all ties together.
His
pollution level
defenses
A.
were too dangerous.
No, that's the thing, is like, he was borderline indestructible, and people are like, probably don't do that.